Oh my god, the Black Swan event is gonna be happen. JP Morgan admit the shocking news. US factory order jump by the big trade and showing the pocket of strength in manufacturing despite the inflation and lack of consumer demand. US factory order increased in June on transportation equipment demands and a lots of things out there. The manufacturing sector is showing the sign of contradictions and whenever it is happen then demand is also go up. So what you have to just learn from this video, you have to learn something really valuable, which is comes from the global shipping capacity is being cut despite the optimism about the cargo demand and many of things. That this indicates a lack of actual demand in the economy and US real profit is declined due to the raise labor cost and decline the cargo. The consumer spending on goods is decreasing as the import decline. The JP Morgan scrap US recession call and expect the healthy GDP and growth out there. The relationship between the gas price and GDP growth is equivalent. Whenever it is happen, when the gas price is rise, the GDP rises, and whenever the gas prices is fail, that means the GDP is going to be fail and fall in future. US factory order increased by June. Whenever it is happened, the transportations of the equipment demand is going also high, and the global economy is particular the US economy is showing a sign of improvement, and JP Morgan is also giving contradict positions positive data to raise the concern about the consumer demand and also in manufacturing demand. The manufacturing sector is showing a sign of contradictions and the manufacturing PMI has contradict for a ninth strength of month at this moment. This is the time when the Fed is taking off their rate hike at the peak level, and the fact manufacturing data also shows the downward trend in the future because of the inflations and all the things is gonna be happen, and that is why the Bitcoin and all the things which is related to the all easy money printing, the things which is depending on the easy money printing, if this kind of thing is began to go down, that means the quantitative easy money is not gonna be possible in near term. Whenever the quantitative easy money is can be possible for the people and for the money and for the near term, that means there is a higher chance for the people they can invest into the Bitcoin in any cryptocurrencies and they can get the same result in near future. So the transportation sector is a particular order of equipment like a Boeing and a driving in an increase in manufacturing data. If the Boeing effect is failed, the manufacturing sector is likely to contract in near future. And the signaling is recession and the global shipping is capacity to just being cut despite the optimism about the cargo demand. That's why the shipping capacity is being cut down and indicating the lack of actual demand over there and limiting the space availability of the force and shipper to book the earlier transistor out there, and trans-Pacific shipping rates are increasing and cut the capacity of their shippings in this world. So this is the shipping industries and capacity and many of things out there is happening in the shipping industries despite of the optimism about the world and about the consuming about the manufacturing data. That means they are right now expanding their own capacity and they try to build more and more capacity, adding more capacity into the shipping industries. So new shipping industry with the high capacity adding on it will lead to a capacity problem, and the transition Pacific and deployment is the downside of the Europe, Asia to Europe and deployment as are up to the high indicate rate. That's indicating the shifting the capacity from the being a very unpassable to becoming a strong industry in the world. It's maybe take time to rebound the economy again at the top level because since the since the market has been failing quite a lot from the last year, the market is not fully recovered right now, and there is a big challenge for the US government and for the US economy because of their quantitative easy money is not printed and the inflation is also high and rates also high. People are not able to pay back all their loans and all their mortgage loans which they have taken from the US government, and that's why the massive chaos is happening in this US economy. US real profit is also declined, the rise the labor cost, and many of things out there is happening. Whenever it has happened, the lots of things out there has become more and more profitable for themselves, and the operating profit of the Union Pacific crop is become good. Southern dropped by the at least 12% in single quarter, and that means the decline are expected to continue in the second half. It's maybe going on because of the profit is not the it's not according to the they expected from the real industries, and at the same time the market is not showing the sign of the improvement and indicating the decline in manufacturing sector, and whenever it is happens then the recovery of the market will heavily depends on the consumer behavior. If during the holiday seasons the consumer behavior it may be changed just because of they have to spend lots of money out there, and whenever they spend money in the market the government have to get lots of tax from the people, and when the government is also accumulate tax that means they have to gather more and more, they have to build more and more GDP out there. That means the companies, the manufacturing industries also thrive at the moment. Now have a look at the consumer spending on goods and is decreasing as the import is declining. The consumer spending at the moment is quite low, and that's the reason why the decreasing in imports is also become in the part of this reasons, and the import to US and decreasing by the 22% at the first half of the years, and whenever it has happened that means there is a higher chance in future and meltdown is gonna be happen just because of the imports is gonna be decreased by the 22% in US, and decline the import indicate the decreasing demand and the lower consumer prices. Whenever this happen, then the chaos is began to happen. So the reason why the people are not going to go down fully to invest, people are not, and all the institutions which have a big amount of cash in their pocket, why they are not going into fully into the market because of they already know this is not a right time to go fully into the market just because of in near future it may be give you a better sign and opportunity to invest your all money into that, but maybe sometimes they will feel it is not happen very easily because of they don't understand the real thing which has happened, which is might be you thinking might be about the earnings of the companies is not really well for the future growth. So when you look at the JP Morgan scale, the US recession is expected to healthy GDP growth, and the JP Morgan expected to recession in 2023 is going to predicted continue to expand. They have to anticipate the GDP growth, which is almost 2.5% in the current quarter, and the growth which have been drive in a fourth quarter, it is almost 1.5%. Now, whenever you look at the unemployment rate, which is climbed 4.5% as compared to the last next year. So unemployment rate is expected to climb 4.5% by the end of this next year. So what is going to be happen? It's determined by the GDP, and moreover it is dependent on the data they have been presented. Just like I said, the employment data is going to be go up. That means there is a higher chance the economy and all the stocks is going to be give you a massive rally in your future. Maybe few things happen in this economy, but they keep going doing that. Maybe improve a massive aggressive manner. So the relationship between the gas prices and GDP growth is equivalent. Whenever you see the gas prices is rising and the GDP is rising, when the gas pricing failing, is GDP is also failing. This is the same thing is happen out there. Now let me describe everything in detail. Gas prices is a strong indicator of demand in energy sector. which is directly affected by the economic expansion. The data shows that the gas prices is declined really well. Now, GDP growth tend to be slowed down. Indicate the clear decisions over the relations between the two commodities over there. Now, while there is a different is a belief that the gas prices have to hit at the bottom right now and will be go bound aside and go upside very aggressively. That not that the suggest that risk is risk to the economy's outlook remain and the resilience of the US economy in recent months is gonna be become very high just because of real economy and the resilience if become the behind the US economy become recently and very higher and very stronger. That means economy is become tougher than any countries. Now, along with the gradual moderations and Karo's core of inflation and wage growth has been historical consistent with the recessions and it's gonna be happen maybe just they are presenting many of things out there. A decrease in the total compensation of the often accomplished by an increase in a essential job, and that means it is climbed to indicate the potential in our future and slowdown in the economy. When it's happened, then the future is giving you a massive returns when they understand really well the things. So the shipping sector is expected to face the excessive capacity and landing the low prices and the deflation forces. At the same time, when you look at the 4-week moving average and the spending is dropped while the lending is rising, also rising the unemployment rates and but the MNCs, those who are holding a big corporations all across the world, they try to just increase their ways of the employer. And at the same time, the shipping companies also increase their capacity with their contributions and inflations. And there is a reason why the people are just wait for something gonna be happen. And when the companies are just expanding yourself, that means they need to be go down and they try to make their base stronger because of in near future after 5 to 6 months later the big give up the economy is gonna be give up in massive rally. That's because of that and the shipping companies is also making their stronger demands and a stronger foundation out there. So the JP Morgan's decision is called their recession and viewpoint over there is supported by the data. As we look at the sign of the increase in consumption on the spending, it's become so higher. So this is the same thing which it says by the government, JP Morgan, and it will make people more aware out there. So this is something really interesting which makes you more aware about the world. So this is the black swan is going to be happen if the things is not going well according to the expected according to the expectations of the US investors and many of agencies those who are predicted that can be happen and one of the agency which is predicting that can be happen that means that is the JP Morgan and the JP Morgan is become the shock by looking at the data. The unemployment rate is quite massive. So this is my side.